Time for another draftphysics.com, debatephysics.com also. But can't organize a debate even. Guess I might as well say something about that. Like it'd be good to try. I saw some reference to the movie 12 Angry Men. I've probably, you know, I'd say it's probably the movie I've watched the most times, I think. Just because I did run movies on. I had I had some, well, before tablets, these image display thingies, and I had one that could display a movie, and it was a black and white movie, so I could make a file small enough. Anyway, I could run it on the slideshow kind of device. Well, anyway, and so I had 12 Angry Men just running in a loop, 24 hours a day. Obviously without the audio most of the time. And so I've probably visually seen it more than any other movie, uh, you know, just throwing it out there. Only because, my brain, associates things rationally, puts things together, and it says, yes, this is really what it takes. It takes, you got to shove people, force people to interact with each other, and they really have to make their argument. And the more you pick at the arguments, the more you pick, you can make the truth visible. And in that case, the visible truth was they certainly didn't prove the kid did it. Okay, there certainly wasn't enough evidence to give him the electric chair. And there was really good reason, okay, to believe that, yes, he didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. And the same concession should be extractable from these fanatics. And so that's sort of the situation I'm in, is I'm the one juror who says, this doesn't smell right. And I've got to convince these other 11 morons that, yeah, you should be able to smell this. Okay, there's a lack of evidence. The experiments that are cited in the historical record aren't even repeated. They don't repeat denting clay, okay, with round things, because somebody will bring up the fact that, well, that's not logically consistent. The fact is, we know there should be it's not a linear measurement of energy. And then certainly rolling things, right? Somebody could just say, well, let's just do the rolling experiment over and over again. Let's just roll a ball at twice the velocity and watch it go 4 times as far. And it would just keep saying that's 4 times the energy. The problem is, see, you do a little tiny bit of analysis. One of the jurors mentions, well, it's only going half its velocity after it's traveled 3/4 of the distance. How can that possibly be a linear measurement of energy? How could it lose disproportional amounts of energy as it travels if it's supposed to be a linear measurement, a proportional, distance proportional measurement? Doesn't make any sense. So, these arguments can be made, and then, like I say, not repeating the Eddington experiment from space. I mean, it's just insanely unexplainable. You just can't rationally explain why science didn't invest the $56 to redo the experiment that made Einstein credible. Without this experiment, Einstein was in mushy ground. He had nothing, really. I mean, nothing any common person could appreciate at all. Obviously, the convoluted math he used to do Mercury's precession is so convoluted, that's the stuff that only 4 people on Earth understand, and they only understand it because, they used the eraser on their pencil a lot. Anyway. So, I mean, it's just, this is not a complicated argument, right? All I have to say is, I mean, really, do you really think it's an absolute, proven, established, undeniable fact that it takes 25 times the gasoline to travel 5 times faster? That 50 miles an hour costs you 25 times the gasoline. And that when you're going 50 miles an hour, you can recover 25 times the energy. Because there's 25 times the energy in your car now. Do you really believe that? And then just, be a little bit honest. I mean, can one of you be honest and just say, oh, okay, yeah, that does sound like crap. Yeah. That 10 times the speed is 100 times the energy. 100 times. 10 times is a lot, right? Let's just, let's not just dismiss 10 times as, as being nothing, okay? 100 times? Come on. You know better. You know it doesn't quite fit, okay? It's a piece of evidence that just, nah, come on. You got to prove that shit. So Dopey Piro left a comment just saying some glib crap about, oh, there's no, I don't see any problem. It's all compatible. I've explained 6,000 times at any time, use any conversion device, okay, any collection device. All of a sudden this kinetic energy just disappears. It just, poof, gone. And it's undeniable. I mean, they've never measured any of these things saying, well, there was a bunch of deformation and stuff happened. They don't measure any of it. Okay, so the idea that ballistic pendulum been around for at least 200 years, never measured anything called heat or any kind of anything to say, well, yeah, that's where 99% of our fake, phony, and fraud energy went. Nothing. They'll never explain the spaceship, and you're traveling and you push out of your ship the 2 liters going 1 mile an hour and the dime going, 1,000 miles an hour. And somehow your ship doesn't turn, even though you have 1,000 times more energy going out one side. Doesn't turn the ship because, yes, it's the same momentum. I mean, I can't believe that, it's hard for me to believe that all of you are worse, okay, failures, cliche failures to be decent, honorable people. I mean, they had jurors in that movie. One of them was a bigot, and one of them, has a problem because he basically fucked over his son, and he wants to blame his son, and it's not his son's fault. And they have their own little emotional problems, their own little things. But the rest are just generic people, and they all, yeah, well, you start making a good argument, they concede, yeah, that's a good argument. I mean, never repeating the Eddington experiment from space when it doesn't cost anything. You don't need an eclipse, and it takes 5 minutes. And there's 400 times better seeing. 400 times! And you never did it. Never tried it. Never even thought about doing it. And you're scientists. Uh-huh. So, and never doing the crash test, never doing any of these experiments, never ever doing any of them, to really find out the truth, to find out the nature of this thing called energy. It's just hard to believe that you are worse fanatic Muslims. It's like being in a jury room with Muslims. Okay, you don't want to hear about a fact. You don't want to know anything about a truth. It's just praise Allah, or I'll poke your eyes out. I mean, you're just such fucking creatures. Oh. And you're talking like you care. You like science. I love science. That's why I'm gonna fuck it hard. Oh, I mean, damn it. Just. Anyway, all right. So, I was thinking about that. I used the word conservation of momentum, and this is, it's a key concept. Okay, and I was thinking, yeah, they don't even get this word conservation. Okay, so we'll go back to the ludicrous, in my opinion, just the absolutely ludicrous idea. Okay, that you can crash a 1 mass into a 3 mass. Okay, and the 1 mass has 100 momentums, and it can give the 3 mass 150 momentum. Okay, plus it can go backwards this way 50. So I start with 100 moving atoms, right, moving whatever, and I end up with 200, is what it's really saying, moving the same speed. No, I can't do that. That's not conservational. Okay, so I was thinking about this idea that you think you can cancel something. So the opposite implication of this dopey experiment is that they say, okay, that I can have the 3 mass that has 150 momentums, and it can crash into the 1 mass, okay, with 50 momentums, and only 100 pops out. Okay, the small mass goes 100 and that's all. The other thing stops because there's some sort of cancellation, that the energy this way cancels the energy this way. You can't cancel it. Energy always has to go somewhere. So the only way you can make it look like energy has been lost or has disappeared or you can't see it is that either, like in a wheel, you know, you have energy going this way and you have energy going this way, and you store the energy in rotation. And so all of it's there. The energy going this way and the energy going this way both spun the wheel. So you retained the energy. It's just caught in a trap. So the only things you can do to energy is trap it. You can't cancel it. So there's no such thing as, okay, the arrow comes in this way and this one comes in this way, and they just disappear. These 2 arrows don't exist in space anymore. So the only way they can do that, appear to do that, is they have to be doing the oscillating thing. That is, one is pushing this way and one is pushing this way. And like you, sitting on the earth, you do this. Yeah, you're constantly using that energy, is constantly still here. You're oscillating in it. So you could create like a circle, you could create an oscillator. You know, it just keeps going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it stored the energy. So the energy went in, it caused this oscillating thing, and the oscillating thing just never stops. So you've stored the energy, but you can't destroy the energy. You can't cancel the energy. So if something's going this way, then it has to turn it that way. And then you can go have energy go this way, and you can turn it back the other way, and you can end up where you were. But both pieces of energy did their work, so to speak. And there was change that let that energy release. So you did this, and then you add energy in the opposite direction and did that, and the energy kept going in the universe. The impact of you moving from here to here to here to here is real, and is in the universe, that motion. So there's no such thing as 2 things in space hitting each other and just stopping. We already know that from crash tests, right? We know there's only 2 choices, the elastic and the inelastic. We know there's the 50 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, they crash into each other, they crumple 100 miles an hour's worth, right? They crumple the same amount of metal and stuff crumples that if I hit 100 miles an hour into a brick wall. Same crumple, because there's 2 crumplers, 2 springs that are getting crumpled. So we know the energy got used crumpling, right? And then if I do the elastic thing by bang and they bounce, well, we know they bounce with the same amount that went in. So if 60 was going this way and 40 is going this way, well, maybe 40 is going that way and 60 is going to go that way. But it doesn't matter. You have to conserve. The bounce has to contain what went in. There's no canceling part. You can't say, well, the 40 subtract from 60 leaves 20. That doesn't happen in any car crash or any bumper car or any circumstance. You can't cancel the energy. The only way you can make the thing stop is to cause the deformation, to cause it to spin, or to cause the substance to move and heat up. And again, that's the key thing here, right? It's 300 years ago they already speculated about that. You know, they smashed clay into clay and they said, look, it doesn't go anywhere. But then they talked about the fact that, yeah, well, the clay went a lot of places though, and the whole thing spun. There's lots of evidence of the motion is still continuing. It never stopped being motion, okay? And they just weren't smart enough to figure out that the heat of the clay, the motion of the clay gets used up moving the atmosphere, lots of other stuff happens, and that's how it dissipates. And so it's still moving. The energy that went in didn't stop. The energy going that way is still going that way. And the energy going, direction doesn't matter. The fact is there's still rays of force. Okay, you had a laser beam going this way and a laser beam going in this way, and you hit them into a diffracting material, and the light comes out in all directions. Well, we know the amount of light coming out is going to be exactly the amount of light that went in. Conservation of photons. Conservation of altons. Conservation of force moving the speed of light. You cannot cancel it. You cannot it. You cannot anti it. Okay? All you can do is watch it transition from moving something you can see to maybe moving something you can't see. But it's still doing it. So that's the key difference between us, I guess. One of the key differences is this is just like the absolute space argument. There was never a point in my life that I thought I had any doubt whatsoever that there's 3 dimensions of space and that things can be moving or not moving in the 3 physical dimensions. So, I mean, Newton argued this 350 years ago that, space isn't a substance, it's positions. Just like Einstein, he's saying, look, it's positions in space. You can't move the positions. So everything has a position relative to static positions in space, okay? It's not a substance, it's just a place. And the fact is that we are pushed by this energy into different places. But there's an absolute framework. There is no framework that's not absolute. And the energy has to be conserved in that framework. Now, I never doubted that, like I said, the 3 dimensions makes perfectly good sense. That everything being regular, that some idea that there's a space warping of time thingy, spacey time, blah, 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 with no explanation for what it is or how it warps anything or how it moves anything or how it causes a change in movement. Nonsense. Now, the idea of relativity was easy to, okay, I can understand that something's going this way and I'm also going this way. Well, we have this way in common. We can't see this way. Okay? We can only see other changes, like it's going that way and I'm going this way. Well, I could see, but I can't see us both going this way. Okay, it's invisible now. I can't see that motion because it's common to both of us. Well, sure, that makes sense. But all this other crap? No sense at all. Even parallax, all this stuff we can understand. Images that, optical illusions. Even the bending of light in the mirage idea, because we as a kid we traveled a lot, and going through the desert, you see that a lot. Okay, where you can see miles ahead and it's all going all over. The road's doing this, the signs are all moving all over the place, and you can understand, it's because I'm looking through water, essentially, right? I'm as much as the air is dry as hell and it's like 10% humidity, the fact is there's all of this stuff on the surface, and it's full of real bulk. The other day, the dehumidifier was on, and it's just the idea of, look, you can you pull a quart of water out of the air, and you're just saying, how can air, how was the air holding all that? It's just kind of, and you're saying, yeah, I have to see through that. Okay. So you can understand it. It's not complicated. It's not, this is stuff out of reach, and your people are just so obstinate, so arrogant, so full of shit, so full of dishonesty that you can't sit in this room as an adult and make a rational argument for why you are so confident when there's no physical evidence. When you can't cite, you can't just say, go look at this experiment there. Didn't that prove it? You can't do that. That should bother you that you don't have any evidence. You know, that you're saying guilty, 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 the motherfucker's guilty, guilty, guilty. And you don't have shit for evidence. Einstein said so. That's all you need? Einstein said so. There, we're done. Never have to even think about it again. It's all done. The Chardonnay dented some clay, and that proved it all forever. Ha 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 ha. I mean, this is a jury room of retards. These pathetic explanations. These pathetic, again, you assholes do not really believe it takes 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast. You don't believe it. There's no fucking way any one of you are so fucking dishonest, so fucking deluded, so fucking stupid that you actually believe that takes place. That it actually takes 25 times more gasoline to go fucking 50 miles an hour than it takes to go 10. You don't believe that. Jesus. So all you can blame is, like I said, you're not just ignorant. You're fucking liars. You're pathetic liars to say, okay, this really is a subject. This really should be analyzed. There really should be physicists doing these experiments. We really should clear this air. We really should do that. All right, we should repeat the Mythbusters. I mean, they crashed the cars. They did it. 50 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. Exactly twice the damage to the car. Not 4 times the damage, not even close to 4 times the damage, not even an indication that it's heading for 4 times the damage. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, this simple experiment did the 5 mass going 10 velocity. You just add 5 mass in some graceful way. You conserve all of the momentum. I mean, 99% of the momentum can be conserved if you do it gracefully, and you lose half the kinetic energy. Merely because the math says so. Not because the experiment looks like it's so. Not because of any good reason. Just because your silly formula says so. And it only gets worse and worse, okay, the more I change the scenario, you know. Add 10 mass, and then I lose even more energy. You know. Come on. I just didn't think. Like I said, this is a character issue. You're not fair cops. You're agenda whores, and your only agenda whores, it appears, because you don't like me. That's it. You're only doing this so aggressively and so pathetically because you resent my existence in some way. That's it. You don't have anything else. Just your little petty hate problems. Oh, it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. You know, how pathetic you people are. Because there really hasn't, like I said, you sit there and demonstrate, here's a lever, a balance, and momentum says there's the same weight on each side. Momentum says it should oscillate for a very long time. It perfectly does all of that stuff. Your silly theory says, no, they're not the same thing. That somehow this is 4 times the energy of this over on this side of the oscillator. That somehow the oscillator is oscillating with 4 times the energy on one side than on the other side. You think you don't need to even counter that and explain how the hell that could be possible. How the hell something could keep oscillating when it's so disproportional, when it's so out of balance. And it won't oscillate at all if I do it by your rules. If I put the same kinetic energy on the balance, it does this. It says, fuck you, that doesn't balance. Okay? Just doesn't. 4 pounds at 1 velocity, or 1 pound at 4 velocity. I mean, to velocity, because that's what a lever will give to it. Twice the velocity. That's what dropping it 4 times the distance would do. Twice the velocity. So I put 2 distances on the lever. It completely fails. The 4 mass goes vink. That's what happens. Zoom. Right to the bottom. Because this frickin' 1 mass with twice the velocity is not the same amount of work. And you ignore that evidence. You ignore that glaringly rational, logical piece of counter evidence. It's a gigantic piece of counter evidence that if you put the 1 mass with twice the velocity on one side of the balance and the 4 mass with 1 velocity, that it doesn't balance. It decidedly doesn't balance. It's not like even close to balancing. That piece of counter evidence to you is dismissible as what? They faked it. There's another gorilla that escaped from the zoo and he's hiding in the bushes and he found a gun and he shot the president. Don't you believe my story? The gorilla story? With burning tires. They threw burning tires on his head first and then shot him. The gorilla did it. I'm sorry. Existence on this planet is a pathetic experience. It's just disgusting. How the fuck can you people? I don't. You're just saying. But you're seeing it. I mean, right now you are. Some of it you are seeing. I mean, they will run over their own kids. I mean, there it is. Yeah. It's not going to end well. I can say that much, I guess. Hey, cool. That's a different perspective. Not a very useful one, though. All right. Anyway, so till the next time. But man, you people. Just such desperate stupidity. Just such. I mean, again, all this arrogance in the face of the fact that you have nothing as evidence. I mean, it's just so bad. Could one of you compose a rational explanation for why that stupid Eddington experiment wasn't redone from space? Just anything. Any kind of notion of why, when you have 400 times more resolution, it costs next to nothing, okay, in terms of 5 minutes of satellite time. You only need a mediocre camera. And you never even tried it? Oh, come on. How can that make sense as science? Science says in that environment, you're going to sit there and tell me, oh yeah, it's the most proven theory in the history of mankind. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. Alright, anyway. I hate you, bro. Bro is coming back, apparently. Everybody's broing all over the place. Girls are now bros. Everybody's a bro. Bro.